Hello, and welcome to Science Research Weekly, Episode 12, Snowstorms and Dolphins. Get ready for toxic birds, correlation for days, a flipper-tastic multi-tool, blazing fast shiny development, and Department of Defense cancer grants as far as the eye can see. This episode covers material from March 31st to April 6th. Now, as a note, my university was shut down most of the week due to a large snowstorm, so this episode is shorter or more clipped than normal, but it's still here, so let's jump in like a snowbank of science. For our research articles, I have 4 articles today. The first is evidence for wastewaters as environments where mobile antibiotic resistance genes emerge. So researchers found that wastewater was a more potent source of antibiotic resistance as opposed to the expected places like human or animal guts, suggesting more focus on dealing with resistance at the wastewater level. Next one here, I have a morphological and spatial analysis of volcanoes on Venus. So researchers put together a new global catalog of volcanoes on Venus that includes over 85,000 entries. Third on the list here is multiple mutations in that NAV 1.4 sodium channel of New Guinean toxic birds provides autoresistance to deadlier bacteriotoxin. So researchers discovered 2 new species of toxic birds in New Guinea, the Rufous napped bellbird and the regent whistler. Lastly, we have this paper, a social niche breadth score reveals niche range strategies of generalists and specialists. So researchers used thousands of environmental sequencing samples to define niches for microorganisms and found that microbial habitats were dominated by generalists as opposed to niche dominations by specialists, and they had smaller genomes than expected. With that being said, let us turn to some research tools. So then, issue 9 from volume 106 of the Journal of Statistical Software is available, coming at you live in intrinsic and R package for model-based estimation of the intrinsic dimension of a data set. Likewise, Python from Python Insider, Python 3.11.3, 3.10.11, and 3.12 Alpha 7 are now available. So get your Python on whatever flavor version you would so desire. Pressing ever forward on the details of interpretation of correlation, Rick Wicklund on the do loop has 2 posts of interest using rank correlation and also interpreting a Spearman or Kendall correlation. Now then, over on GitHub, a thing called flipper-0 was trending, so I looked into it. So from the flipper-0 website, it is a portable multi-tool for pen testers and geeks in a toy-like body. It loves hacking digital stuff such as radio protocols, access control systems, hardware, and more. It's fully open source and customizational, so you can extend it to whatever you like. So it looks like a good repository to get started. It's called Awesome Flipper-0, a collection of awesome research for the flipper-0 devices. So certainly, I'm not exactly sure on all the ramifications of this tool, so use at your own discretion and use ethics. Anyways, 6 new R cram packages to PCAT, eyes white as snow. There is lessSEM, non-smooth regularization for structural equation models. AICcPermanova, model selection of PERMANOVA models using AICc. rtlr, print right to left languages correctly. Softbib, software bibliographies for R projects. Mmcsd, modeling complex longitudinal data in a quick and easy way. And rrandvec, generate random vectors whose components sum to 1. News from our bloggers, we got 2. First, businessscience.io has a post on using ChatGPT to make a shiny app, a monthly expense calculator, in 10 minutes. I've mentioned before that I'm a bit wary of AI misapplication, but this is a good showcase of where the technology is fairly straightforward and useful, providing code for a specific R shiny app. Good to keep up with what is possible. And then finally, Oscar Barufa announces 6 new books added to the Big Book of R. What are they, you ask? Well, here they are. 1, Introduction to Urban Accessibility. 2, Introduction to Data Science. 3, R for Data Analysis. 4, A Little Book of R for Bioinformatics 2.0, my personal recommendation. 5, R for Data Analysis. And 6, A Crash Course in Geographic Information Systems, so GIS, using R. Let's wrap up then with some research funding. So this is going to be pretty short here, but the Department of Defense has a bunch of peer-reviewed cancer grants with funding opportunity numbers starting with HT9425-PRCRP. I just included the IDEA award in the link in the description. You can search out the rest yourselves. There's ones for translational team science, advancing cancer care through clinical trials, career development, patient well-being and survivorship, and impact. That's all for me here today. Research to give a flip about, science with a porpoise. Thanks for joining me for Science Research Weekly. Science on.